Good morning, crafters. It's Angie Oldenburg back doing another YouTube video as part of the vlog hop that we're doing monthly. So you're going to be having demonstrators from around the world participating in this, and we are focusing on using scraps. So of course we all have scraps. You cut a perfect card front and you have leftover. So what do we do with all these little pieces of cardstock or DSP, designer series paper? So we're gonna show you all kinds of ideas to use your scraps in this vlog. So this is the card that I'm gonna be doing today, and I am gonna be using the In Good Taste designer series paper. This is, I think, the only designer series paper that carried over from the last annual catalog to this current annual catalog, the 2021-22 catalog. So of course I have a lot of scraps. This is actually a big paper bundle, so there's more in here than you would normally get with a designer series paper pack. So I am also going to be using the tailor-made tags. So I'm going to be using the second largest tag for the greeting, and I also cut out the little hole savers, or whatever you would call those, to just add a little detail. So I figured this would be a good masculine card, good generic birthday card for anybody. So of course you could do other greetings as well. So the stamp set I'm using is called the Biggest Wish, or Biggest Wish. So you can use it for all kinds of occasions and do it in any color pattern that you would want, and you can tailor it to whatever scrap pieces of designer series paper you have. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on today. So let's get started. I'm going to move this up to the corner so that you can see it while we're working on things. And the base of the card today is espresso. Certainly with this dark of a cardstock, you will have to put a piece of basic white or vanilla in the inside so that you can add a greeting to it. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to see any writing. So that's our card base, and I'm just going to set that aside for a bit. And we're going to work on the tag first, because that's the only stamping that we're going to do. So I, again, am using scraps for this. I keep 2 baskets at my workstation, one for white and one for vanilla, so that I can just pull out of my scrap basket when I'm making tags or greetings. And so I just pulled this out, and we're going to cut this right out of this scrap piece. So I'm using gray granite for the happy, and I already have it on my block. You can see I've used it already. I love this set. And we're gonna, I certainly could have a piece of foam under here. I didn't grab that before. So we're gonna do that and close that up. And then I'll get my espresso, early espresso. And we're gonna do the birthday right over the top and kind of make it, and it's hard for me since the camera's right above, so I'm hoping that I'm kind of in the middle there. And that will go right over the top of it. And you can do that again with any color combination to layer your happy birthday right on top of each other. All right, so that's all the stamping we're gonna do. I'm gonna pause and cut this out with using the tag. And I'm not going to do that on camera just because I don't want to shake the camera and everything. So I will be right back. Okay, here it is. I always put a sticky note. I've got these sticky notes that are sticky all over, and they actually hold really well, really firmly. So there's our tag, cut out of scrap white. And then I'll put this piece back in my scrap basket, because I can certainly get another greeting out of that. And I'm going to be using Tombow glue for all of these projects today, or this whole project, I guess I should say, and my silicone mat, so that I'm not sticking to anything. I had cut these out ahead of time. It comes, these little hole protector things. There's 3 in the row when you cut them out. So I just cut them out of a piece of scrap of the early espresso cardstock. And so I have 3 of them. And because they're so tiny, I'm gonna grab my tweezer to pick it up. So just dab a little glue on there and kind of tip it over, because otherwise my fingers are too big to get it down in the right spot. And the nice thing about glue is you can slide it around a little bit to get it in the right place. Unless it sticks down too quickly. Push that over with my thumbnail. There we go. So all done with that part. And then I just have a little bit of white twine from the Neutrals twine pack. Let me show you that. There's white, gray granite, crumb cake, vanilla, and then there's black. I don't have in here. It's in another box. So kind of a nice variety of twine to get. And then I just kind of did a little loop. And I'm going to cut these frayed edges off so that we don't have to worry about them. Oops. Boy, that's beautiful, huh? All right. We're going to be cutting a lot of those frayed edges off. Just so there's a little twine on that tag. Let me get my paper snaps, or my, yeah, so these are the ones I use for fabric or ribbons. I don't know, I'm not always consistent on that, but, and then I just use, I've put some dimensionals on the back of that for when we are ready to put it down on the card front. And then I'll set it aside and we'll get going on the fun part. Okay, so we'll put this up here and then we'll do the sticky part. Okay, so my scraps look like this, and I did have some smaller pieces, but I went ahead and cut them into strips of just whatever size I had left here, and cut them into 1/4 inch strips, or no, sorry, 1/2 inch strips. If you're using metric, you could do 1 centimeter. You can decide on how thick you want these strips on your front. You could do it in 2 inches or 1.5 inches or 3 centimeters. You know, you can play with the size of the striping that you want. So this is what I did. I'm just going to set those aside, and then we're going to bring in just a card front of white. Now you could also use any color for this because it's going to get covered up. So for this, I just cut a card layer for the front out of whatever scrap you're going to use. Could be white, could be a pink, you know, it's going to be covered up, like I said. And then we're going to start sticking on these strips of designer series paper. So you're going to want to take, if you're going to follow this pattern, you can make whatever pattern you like, but I just started out putting the longest piece from corner to corner. Now you can also kind of, you know, see this one, it went up. You can change the direction of these however you want it to look. So let's just start. And the reason I have my silicone mat down is because it's going to get gluey. And I ended up with some sticky fingers. You don't have to go all the way to the end on out with it if you've got a really long piece. You certainly could glue right onto the base also if you wanted to, but I find it's easier just to do piece by piece. So the nice part about this is you can kind of slide it around and make sure they're fitting tightly when you're putting all of these pieces. And then I just kind of like to put them down, you know, alternating colors and patterns. You're going to want to make sure that your pieces are long enough to get to the edge of the white. See, these are a little short. This one's gonna fit, so we'll do that one next. And then I'll go ahead just laying these down and fast forward it, because you really don't need to watch me in real time doing this. You'll get the idea of what I'm doing by watching in fast forward. So here we go. Then once you have all of the stripes going this way, you could certainly do the whole thing going that same way. And you saw that I cut this piece off. This is a scissors we used to have for cutting the rubber and the adhesive on stamps. And I've just kept it, and I use it for anything sticky that I'm cutting, and then I clean it off later when I'm done with the project, because it's a pretty tough scissor. So then I'm going to flip this around, and I might even cut off some of these edges because I can use some of these pieces going the other direction, and then we'll do all the cutting and trimming at the end. So I'm going to turn it around like this, and then starting in the middle here, we're going to go to this corner. So I usually start, kind of wherever the corner is and go in, and then run the strips this way and this way to the edges. So I'll do that now and fast forward. One thing, if you're cutting off some of the pieces, you're going to want to make sure that you have a right angle if you're going to be layering it up to this piece. So you may have to kind of snip off the end so that when you put it down, it lays flush. There we go. It's a little bit challenging when there's such a tiny little spot to cover that up, but then we'll put it aside and let it dry for a little bit, and then we'll come back and then trim off all of these pieces. Basically what I do is just take the scissors and trim right up and around, and get a clean edge from that. And it doesn't really matter if there's a lot of glue on this side, because we're going to be sticking it down directly to the card front. So it's absolutely okay if you got glue on that side. And of course the silicone mat is wonderful for saving your workspace a little. Okay, it's mostly dry, and I actually cut off 3 of the sides already to make this go a little quicker. All you do truly is make sure you have a old scissors, because you are going to be cutting through some glue, but then just go along the edge of your cardstock layer and trim right up against it. These pieces are still a little sticky, so if you let it dry completely, it won't do that. And there we go. Just one little corner that isn't stuck down. And once we get it on the card front, we can put a little glue under there to make sure that it sticks and doesn't go anywhere. And like I was saying before, you can use it this direction, or you can use it this direction, or you certainly could use it as a vertical, like a portrait card front. You can turn it whatever direction that you want. You could prep these ahead of time when you're going through your paper stashes and make these backgrounds and pull them out just when you need to make some cards. So it's a really kind of cool background. You can use any color palette or any designer series paper or cardstock. So, all right, I'm gonna move the silicone mat out of the way. I'm gonna bring my card base back in here. I do have a little bit of glue right there, so I don't wanna get that on the card. So I'm just gonna put glue down on the back so we can adhere it to the card front. I'll put my cover back on because that's the last bit of glue we need. And let's see which direction I want to go. Kind of like this one. You could certainly put it up on dimensionals if you wanted to, but I like it since you know, you sort of tend to get glue on the back anyway. You can just glue it right down to the front of the card. All right, so there's the front, and then we will pull the tag back in and put that down. These actually come together really quickly once you kind of know the pattern and how to put them together. You did get some glue on your fingers, but that's all right. That's why these dimensionals are sticking to me. All right. And I just put it down that way. You could certainly angle it or put it in the middle or however you wanted to. If it was more of a flowery card base, you could add in more bling on it. But I think this is a really good neutral happy birthday and masculine happy birthday, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. So the next person's link will be in the description below, and if you did like my video, go ahead and hit the like button. I would love to get your feedback or put a comment down, or if you would love to follow my channel, I would love if you would subscribe. All right, thank you guys and have a great day.